Hi and welcome to another Festive Fridays, and today I'm going for an album cover. However, the size is so small that whatever I do on top of it, it could be easily be turned into a card. As my base, I will be working on my journal organizers. This is the A6 size and it comes with 4 elastics inside. It fits my A6 journals. It is white inside and out so that you can decorate it any way that you like, and it also comes with 4 metal parts that you can use to decorate the corners. Now of course you can make your own album cover, and I did share previously in my channel videos on how to do that, but today I will be working on this as a base. Again, remember this is an A6 size, which is about the A2 standard size for cards in the US, which means that whatever I do on top of this cover, it can be a card. Now, of course, the idea behind the journal organizers is to keep together your journals, and these could be your art journals, bullet journals, your daily planners, your traveler's notebooks. And of course you can make your own little booklets to put inside, and I did share a video, I believe last week or a couple of weeks ago, on how easy it is to do that by using your pattern papers. Now for this specific one I'm going with a Christmas theme, since I'm planning to add inside my December daily journal as well as the journals that I make for Christmas themed projects. So I decided to go with Winter Valley, which is one of the Christmas collections by Stamperia, and I'm just browsing through this so you can see really quickly what it looks like. I will be playing with one of those panels as my base, and I'm going to build up my composition on top of it. So once I'm finished with this panel and I decorate it beautifully, I am going to stick it on top of my cover. But you can definitely stick it on top of a card, so it works either way. Now I'm going to place my panel on the back side of those pattern papers, and I'm going to try and find something that really contrasts with the colors that I already have. I'm going to go with this blue, which is full of stars, lovely pattern paper, and I'm going to measure the base of my journal so that I can cut it in size. I'm also going to do a little bit of ink blending, so I brought in a dark blue ink pad. I'm going to go all around the edges and darken them up a little bit. I'm also going to use my scissors around the edges of this panel to fray them a little bit, make them look more dimensional and give them some interest. And to add some more visual texture on the background, I'm going to bring in my text ribbons, and I will be using the white part because it does make a difference when you use it on top of a darker background. So with ribbons I always use my scissors to separate the part that I want to use, and I don't peel off the whole thing and use it in different areas. Trust me, it's going to stick all over the place and it's going to create a mess. So here I have only the part that I want to use. I'm not going to transfer it directly as it is. I'm not going for the perfect impression here. And you see, I'm not even using a tool to transfer the ribbon. It works with my finger as well. I'm mainly staying on the edges since that's the part where it's going to show. And with my ribbons you will find they are very easy to transfer. However, you need to keep in mind that where you are trying to transfer it, it has to be dry. So before I did some ink blending on the edges, I made sure that that ink was completely dry before I do my transferring. Now since this is going to be an album cover, I'm going to go dimensional, so at the back of this panel I'm going to add some foam tape and stick it on top of the other panel. Now from the same collection, Winter Valley, I'm going to bring in the packet of die cuts. I usually go with ephemeras because they are very thin and they fit nicely inside my journals or on top of my cards. However, here I'm going quite dimensional and I don't mind using the chipboard pieces. And I'm just showing you here another idea that I had, really easy to play together with all those elements and create cards or even album covers. However, for this design I decided to go with a house. For most of the elements that I'm going to stick on top of my panel, I'm going to use foam tape at the back so that I can pop them on top and I can add more dimension. And as I create my cluster, I always make sure that when I add foam tape at the back or even glue, I don't go all the way to the edges. This is going to give me the opportunity to tuck things underneath if I choose to do so. Now, the composition is really easy to put together. The only difficult part is that with the variety of images that you get in this pack, it really is difficult to know where to stop. You just want to add more and more on top of your composition. So I mainly used the house with the bottom banner as my sentiment, and then I embellished it with the flowers, and I also added the cute little bird to give it some life. Now this looks already beautiful. You can stop here if you like, or you can make it a card. However, I'm going to add a few finishing touches by using my ribbons. These are going to add some golden touches on the composition. It is going to make them look fuller, but at the same time it's not going to add any dimension at all. So I'm adding those branches where I have already created flower compositions, one at the top of the house and another one where the little bird is. And I'm going to finish it off by using my contour liners. I'm using the gold to add some dots here and there at the center of the flowers. I'm also going to use the iridescent one to add snow at the rooftop as well as on some of the windows. From my new collection, I absolutely love the contour liners and I use them on pretty much everything I create since they were released. I find they are so easy to work with. They have that fine tip that allows you not only to create dots but also lines, and you can see how I use it here to add the snow. This is the iridescent one. It looks white, but trust me, in real life it has some shine on it, and I absolutely love how it adds dimension and it keeps its shape. You will see better how it looks at the photos at the end of this video. And before I stick this panel on top of my front cover, I'm going to do a little bit of work on the album. You can definitely leave it white if you like, or even use pattern paper to cover up the rest of the sides. However, I decided to use this part of this beautiful stencil at the spine, and for that I'm going to apply volume paste. So at the moment it is white on white, which means that when I remove the stencil you won't see much of what it is. However, I'm going to do lots of techniques and I'm going to bring it more to life after applying my acrylic paints and do a little bit of shading. Now on the inside I want to keep it nice and clean, that's why I'm going to use some masking tape. By the way, I made sure that the volume paste on the spine is completely dry by now, before I move on to the next step. So I'm going to use dark blue acrylic paint and I'm going to apply it with a sponge dabber. This is really important because this technique is going to give some texture on the outside of the book, and you will see that at the end it's going to look as if it is leather. So I'm not brushing anything, I'm just dabbing up and down, making sure that I cover up completely the spine and the back. For the front I'm not paying too much attention. After all, I'm going to use my panel and just stick it there. And you can see my inside is nice and white. All I have to do now is just peel off the masking tape. Of course, you can go ahead and color in the inside if you like. However, in my case, I decided to use two panels that I cut out again from the same pattern paper I used for the background in the front. And I'm just going to stick it down. I did cut it to size, I measured to make sure that it is nice, and I always like to leave a little bit of a border, that's why I made sure that it is nice and clean. So now let's stick the front panel that we have already prepared, and then I'm going to show you a really easy but fun technique that is going to turn the rest of the book into looking like leather. Really simple to do. Remember now that I did the dabbing technique, I do have texture that you cannot see, and I do have texture from the volume paste on the spine. So I'm using this wax-based product by Stamperia. The color is white and it is called Cerantica. With my finger I'm lightly applying it over the volume paste. I do that with my finger because I can control how much of the product I apply, very little, and I only touch the mountains of the stenciling. And then on the back I'm going to do the exact same technique. I'm going to go all over it. You see that it turns it into looking really different. I absolutely love this technique. It's super easy to do and it uses very little product. And if you like, you can definitely stop here. If you want to add a touch of shine, you can repeat the same process, this time with gold. And this time I'm going to add way less than I did before, just in a few areas here and there. I think this touch of gold helps it come together more with what I have at the front, since I do have golden touches there as well. And my art journal cover is ready. I can definitely add inside some of my journals. I'm going to place 4 of them just so you can see how it works. Again, this is for the A6 journals. You can use the ready-made ones or make them your own. And if you want to go bigger with your journals, there is another size available, which is for A5 journals. So here you see I managed to fit 4 little journals inside, but it really depends how bulky they are. Maybe you need to add only 3 of them. With how bulky my pages are, I would probably add just 3 on this cover. So let me remove one and show you how it comes together. You can add a ribbon if you like, or an elastic to keep it close together. It's really up to you. And now forget about my dirty hand, I need to go and wash it. But since I do have those metal pieces, I'm going to add them at the corners to embellish them and give it a more finished look on the album. So that was the project for today. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. A list of all the supplies that I used is listed down below in the description, just like always. Here are some close-up photos on the project. Thank you all so much for joining me. Don't forget to like, to leave me a comment, and I'll see you all next time.